Welcome back, listeners. Gather round as I tell you about a pub like no other. Nestled in the heart of England's most haunted village, Pluckley, stands the infamous Black Horse pub. This isn't just any old pub. Here the past is never truly laid to rest. Spirits linger in the shadows and secrets whisper through the walls. So grab a seat and listen closely if you dare to the tale of the Black Horse, where some visitors may check in, but never check out. It was a chilly autumn evening in Pluckley, and James, a young paranormal investigator, found himself drawn to the eerie charm of the Black Horse. He'd heard of Pluckley's haunted reputation, and the pub was at the center of it all. He'd planned to meet a local historian named Agnes there, someone who knew every tale, every spectre, every eerie occurrence tied to the village. As James entered, the pub was alive with a low hum of voices, and a crackling firelight cast dancing shadows against the centuries-old wood. Behind the bar was Emma, the pub's warm yet cautious bartender. She welcomed him with a smile, but there was something unreadable in her eyes, a mixture of worry and warning. Agnes had yet to arrive, so James ordered a pint and took a seat at a quiet table near the back, his camera and voice recorder discreetly placed on the table. Just as he began to relax, he heard a faint chuckle from behind him. Startled, he turned, but no one was there. Suddenly, he felt a slight tug at his sleeve. When he looked down, there was nothing. Just an empty, cold spot in the air beside him.
Emma noticed his puzzled look and approached him with a knowing grin. "You're not the first to feel that," she said. "We call him the Trickster. He's one of our more playful guests, a spirit known for pulling pranks, tugging sleeves, and hiding belongings. If you're lucky, maybe he'll even leave you a message."
Intrigued, James took out his notebook, jotting down details as Emma continued.
But he's not the only one here. Sometimes, late at night, we hear the sound of footsteps, deliberate and slow, coming from the upstairs rooms. We believe it's an old traveler, a man who died here years ago, still searching for something, or someone.
Just as Emma finished speaking, the lights flickered and a chill swept through the pub. Every voice fell silent, and the air grew thick with an almost tangible sense of unease. It was then that Agnes finally entered, looking tense and slightly shaken.
"James, I need to show you something."
She led him to a narrow hallway that ran along the back of the pub, where an old framed map of Pluckley hung on the wall.
"This map is rumored to be a portal, a window into the spirit world."
She explained that many years ago, the pub had been built on the site of an old coaching inn, a stopover for weary travelers and restless souls alike. But one night, a carriage never made it to its destination, and its passengers, 5 of them dressed in fine Victorian attire, vanished without a trace. Some say the carriage was pulled into another realm, and on certain nights, the lost souls wander back to the Black Horse, forever seeking a way home. But anyone who dares touch the map risks joining them. James, ever the skeptic, chuckled nervously and reached out, brushing his fingers against the map's surface. For a brief second, the room seemed to freeze around him. Then the lights went out completely, plunging the hallway into total darkness. He heard footsteps, heavy shuffling steps that seemed to echo from all around him. Fumbling for his flashlight, he finally managed to turn it on, casting a narrow beam across the hallway. Standing before him were 5 figures dressed in Victorian clothing, their eyes hollow and faces pale as death. The ghostly woman at the front, with dark eyes and a lace bonnet, stepped closer, her eyes fixated on him.
"Have you come to guide us home?"
she whispered, her voice like the wind passing through ancient trees. James was paralyzed with fear, his body frozen as the spectre reached out her hand. The chill of her touch seeped into his skin, spreading through his veins like ice. Suddenly, he felt himself being pulled, not just physically, but in a way that seemed to drag his very soul. As James tried to steady his breath, he noticed a slight draft coming from a corner of the room. Curiosity piqued, he moved closer and found a hidden door partially concealed behind an old tapestry. With trembling hands, he pushed it open, revealing a narrow staircase leading downward. The air grew colder with each step, and the walls seemed to close in around him. At the bottom, he entered a small, dimly lit chamber filled with ancient artifacts and dusty books. In the center of the room stood a pedestal holding a large, ornate chest. James approached the chest cautiously, his heart pounding in his ears. As he opened it, a faint glow illuminated the chamber, revealing a collection of old letters and a peculiar, intricately designed key. He picked up one of the letters, its parchment fragile and yellowed with age. The letter was addressed to someone named Eliza, detailing a tragic tale of love, betrayal, and a curse that bound the souls of the Victorian spirits to the pub. The key, it seemed, was the only way to break the curse and set the spirits free. James knew what he had to do. Clutching the key tightly, he made his way back upstairs, determined to find the lock it belonged to and release the spirits from their torment. But as he reached the top of the stairs, he heard a faint whisper echoing through the room. "Beware, the key comes with a price." The weight of the warning hung heavy in the air as James prepared to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that his actions would determine not only his fate, but the fate of the spirits trapped within the Black Horse pub. Emma's voice echoed from somewhere distant, snapping him back to reality.
James, step away from the map!
He stumbled backward, releasing the cold grip of the woman's hand, and as quickly as they'd appeared, the figures faded into the shadows. The lights flickered back on, and James found himself gasping for breath, his heart racing. Agnes took his hand, guiding him back to the main room.
I told you, this place is no ordinary pub. The spirits here, they're not just memories. They're bound by old sins, unfinished business. And sometimes they need someone else to share their fate.
With that final chilling warning, Agnes slipped into the night, leaving James with more questions than answers. And so, dear listeners, James's encounter with the spirits of the Black Horse remains one of Pluckley's many mysteries. A village where the line between the living and the dead is as thin as autumn mist. If you ever find yourself in Pluckley, perhaps you'll stop by the Black Horse for a drink. But beware, for some of its patrons may be watching, waiting for someone to join them. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Max Untold Tales for more spine-chilling stories. Sleep tight.